Good morning. It's my second time trying to do this. I had helicopters circling. I got a leaf blower. It showed up right out here. It doesn't bother a lot of you guys, but it breaks my train of thought to where I can't stay on what I'm doing. I'm going to do a couple videos for you guys today. There's going to be one on some Seikos and why I think this, what you call the land tortoise here, is your best bang for the buck. But I also wanted to talk about kind of collecting things, buying and selling. Okay, because this is something I've been doing my whole life. When I was a kid, I remember I was in third, fourth grade. I was around 9 years old. I was riding my bike. This is back in Jersey. We moved around a lot, but for about a year and a half, we lived up in North Jersey, up in Vernon. And there was a junkyard near me, and I would ride right into it. It was like a landfill junkyard. I mean, they would just dump sand over everything, and we would ski down the sand as kids on cardboard boxes and whatnot. But you would find stuff, and I remember I found a train. I don't know what the gauge was, but it was an engine, electric train, like a train set, you know. And I told a friend about it, and he said, "Oh, my dad might be interested in that." And I got $25 for it, 9 years old, right? And I had already bought and sold a few things, was already doing the bicycle thing, 9 years old, hustling, man, right? So, you learn this lesson. If you could pick something up for next to nothing and get a few bucks for it, that's cool. And then kind of the golden rule, if you're spending your own money on something, is buy it low, sell it for a lot more. You should at least be doubling your money. Uh, I, I don't know if it's a mistake or not, but from time to time, I mean, you guys want to know what I'm spending, right? If I bought a watch or something. Sometimes I mention it, sometimes I don't. If I tell you I spent $90 on a watch and then you want to purchase it from me, uh, I'm going to want probably twice that because the money I spent on a watch, sometimes I'm also not including what the shipping and handling cost. So maybe that took it to just over $100 or something. But I see the value in it. So for me, I'm always trying to get like when I talk about this, you're going to hear what the stellar deal was on that. So just so you understand. Also, I don't mind buying something that's been used, that has a little mark on it or something, right? Like the bracelet on this was pretty well scratched up and it doesn't fit me. That's why it's on this cheap NATO right now. That's going to change as soon as I can change that. But I just want you to understand that, okay? And I'm not a big seller. Not a big seller. I like collecting things, and I'll tell you, I have a disease. This is a disease. Getting into something and then spending money on it. If spending money was an Olympic sport, I'm pretty certain I could medal in that. I think I can make the podium because I'm just weird about it. But I don't have any kids that I know about. And I'm not married. I don't have a girlfriend that I'm taking out all the time and spending money on. It's just me, man. So I can do these things. It's probably not the smartest thing. If I could tap myself on the shoulder and as a young person, I can go back in time. Oh boy, if I could go back in time and talk to myself, I would have been a fighter jet pilot. I was just talking to a guy about that yesterday, and you're going to hear all about him when I get this little package in the mail. Because it's a really cool story, and it does revolve around watches and Seiko watches. But I also would have said to myself, look, man, you don't need all this stuff. Like, if you like that and you think you want to buy it, take the money that that thing costs and just put it aside somewhere instead of buying the thing and forget about it. If I had done that, I'd probably have $100,000 in the bank. It's probably not an exaggeration if you think about all the money I've spent over the last decades, right, on stuff. The benefit of having stuff and the benefit of having quality things, cool stuff, is if you didn't get ripped off, you're always going to do well, right? Paying top dollar for something, if you have the money to do so, it doesn't hurt you that much. You make money, you always have money coming in. You can be a little bit more frivolous with things. You could spend the money on it. You can give it away to somebody. You could sell it for what you paid for it or even less. There's a lot of that on eBay. A lot of that on eBay. And or you, like me, and probably most of you, you know, you can, if you're getting a great deal, you're set because that thing is literally an item that you can enjoy, learn. You're learning a ton, right, about history and that particular item, and you're learning all this stuff. It makes you a more interesting person. I talked about this in my hobbies video. You should have a hobby. or multiple hobbies, which don't need to cost a whole bunch of money. I mean, you can collect rocks, man. You could become a rock hound, be out in the desert finding cool rocks, and a lot of those can actually be worth money. Petrified wood, fossils, on the East Coast more so, arrowheads, things like that. You literally can find stuff on the ground that are treasures that you could sell and make money with. So for me, I buy these things and I enjoy them, and from time to time, they come in handy because maybe I need some money. I got to sell something. Maybe it's taking up too much room. I don't want the room. I don't want it anymore. I sell it. Uh, Barter items, best thing. You got an item that somebody wants. It doesn't matter what you spent on it. It's what the value of it is on the open market or to the person that you're dealing with. That's all that matters. That's all that matters. So, a couple tips here, I suppose, on eBay. There's different ways to search for things. Like, for instance, I didn't search land tortoise on this. If you do Seiko land tortoise, start searching under Seiko, prospects, models, and all that, you're going to get the gambit of everything there, you know. I actually was searching 4 o'clock crown watches, and that's how I found this. And this was at like I guess a consignment shop or something. And I got to tell you, man, that this was a iffy buy based on the pictures because you would think the pictures were good. They filled the whole screen, showed some detail, but the camera work wasn't good. And I thought this was in way worse shape. And I felt like I was taking a chance on it. I got it. I'm shocked at how great it is, actually. You know, so there's that. When I'm searching, also one of the things I like to do is hit ending soonest because boom, things will pop up, and there might be something right there that's got like less than 2 minutes left, and if you know what it is and the deal's right, you might be able to come in and snatch it, you know. Plus, you don't want to feel like you missed it. That's always the worst too. You're searching for something, and you didn't hit end soonest, and maybe it comes up and it's too late. It's gone already. The auction's over or something. There's another thing too with, and I just did 10 minutes on this video, so I feel like I'm repeating myself, but I'm not sure if I mentioned it already in the one you're watching now. I apologize if I repeat myself, but the way people sell on there, you can't read their minds. You don't know if, like, sometimes you think it's too good of a deal to be true, but the reality is you just might know more than that person selling that item that you're looking at. Sometimes those people don't care. Sometimes they've never looked at what the market value of that item is. They just stumbled upon it and they're putting it out there to make some money. That's all. They're lightening their load. Whatever. That's not as important to them. Some people are actually out there thinking to themselves, well, somebody will get a good deal on that. Good for them. Like, there's really nice people out there that think that way. I get that all the time from my friends. Dude, you're so prepared for like the end of the world with all the things that I own. And they talk about what it's worth and those sorts of things. And my thing is, like, I know I'm not going to be here forever. But when I kick the bucket, like, that's a gold mine for somebody. All the crap I got, which will probably be my sister and going through it and giving it to her kids, and who the hell knows what's going to happen. I'm not worried about any of that because I'm not going to care after I'm not here anymore. I'm enjoying this life now and I'm having fun with it. But my thing about spending the money is, and I think I mentioned this a moment ago, is I always want to try to double it. If I'm going to buy something to sell it, that's how it is. So in my videos, if I mention I spent X amount of dollars on something, that's not what I would sell it for, just so you know, right? Because the great thing about here is there's been a great communication, and I appreciate you guys being here. And I put my email out there all the time, mike@mikezdesign.com. I don't always respond to them. I don't always respond to them in a timely manner because I get so many. It's not just that. It's my life and work and family and all sorts of things that are going on. Oftentimes, too, I'm going to respond in a video. So some of you who've emailed me, I know I've responded to you in a video, even if I haven't mentioned who you are, and you've mentioned in the comments, oh, thanks for that. You know, so that's what that is. Matter of fact, the guy sent me an email a few days ago because of that Aragon watch that I did a review on, saying if I wanted to sell it, let him know. I might actually sell that watch, but I'm not going to sell it for $90. And keep in mind, that number is, I think I mentioned this already, but that didn't include the shipping and everything else. We got mosquitoes again, man. These things they love me. You could dip me in DEET, pull me out, sit me over there, drenched in it. Mosquitoes are still going to land on me and eat me. My blood must be tasty. I don't know what's going on with that. So For the record as well, on the watch thing, and people are going to laugh at me, I am petering off of it. I bought a few more watches in the last couple of days just because there was a certain situation that happened, and I wanted to mention this too with eBay. There'll be a thing where you'll be looking at something and you're not going to buy it. You think it's interesting. I don't know how the algorithm works or what goes on, but people who have listings, I guess they can see that who's watching it because you can get an email from that person making you an offer on that item. So I wanted to throw this out at you because you can save a lot of money that way. If you're looking at an item, don't just buy it right away. Look at it a little bit, put it on your watch list. You'll figure this out. There's little things you can click on. There's a watch list. You click on that, and you go to the top of your page. You can hit watch list. You can see all the things that you hit watch list on. Sometimes I do that on items I'm just curious about what they end up selling for when they do go. The thing about it is that you'll get, this happens all the time. I'll get an email. Hey, I saw you were interested in this, and they make you an offer that it could be 40% lower than what the listing price is. That's interesting to me. Also on eBay, there are things that you in your search, there are buttons up top that you can select. Like you could select pre-owned. You could select listings that are buy it now. They have an offer to buy it now, or make a best offer. Sometimes that's in the listing. It gives you an opportunity to do that. So those are other ways to kind of save a little bit. But like this guy in particular, there was this watch. It happens to be an Aragon. I don't actually aesthetically like the way it looks. It's not a watch I would necessarily wear. But it's a lume monster. It's so ridiculous. There's so much lume on this thing, including the bracelet. The bracelet has lume on all the links. It's crazy. And the guy sent me an offer that was a significant discount. And I sent him a note saying, look, I think it's a ridiculous watch. I don't think I'd ever wear it. However, the novelty of all that lume on it, like if you were out somewhere and you were around watch people, and there's like a lume contest, like who's got the best lume, the watch with the most lume, the watch with the most interesting lume, you're winning that one. You wear that watch in, the thing looks like it's from a science fiction movie. You'll see it when it comes in. So, but I said to him, I said, thank you for that offer. It's still not worth it to me. Like this watch is so, I didn't use the word gaudy. I think I did use the word ridiculous. Not trying to insult him, which I also typed in there. I also said, I don't want to insult you with a super low ball offer, but I would only be a buyer on that watch if it was around this price, like total with shipping and everything. He went for it because even he knows that this watch is over the top. He can't unload it to anybody else except some ridiculous person like me willing to spend money on something that I'm probably never going to wear just to have it because it's cool. But there could be some other guy out there down the road, and maybe when I do the video you're watching right now, and you see that watch and you go, holy crap, I've been looking for that watch. That's a rare watch. There's not a lot of them out there. There's not a lot of them out there. They don't come up on the market. People are hoarding these things in their little safes, their little collections, because they think it's cool for the future. So it could be somebody offers me a bunch of money for it, and maybe I will sell it. I'm buying it because I want to entertain people here on the channel, because it's ridiculous. So this is fun for me. I'm not making any money on YouTube, by the way, just so you know. I mean, they've been collecting money for me, and there's money sitting there, and I've still been lazy about doing what I need to do because I'm a little dyslexic like that. When it comes to computer stuff, if it's not an instant thing where I push a button and it just works, then I'm lost. Like if I got to make a call or wait for a response that never comes, or they're not timely, I'm doing it right now. I've blocked out that amount of time. I don't have the time anymore. Now I'm on to something else. I'm on phone. I mean, I was on the phone all day yesterday, almost every single day. I spend hours and hours on the phone with different people for different reasons. I literally have all my notifications shut off on my phone. I don't get any beeps, buzzes, shakes, vibrations, nothing. I don't know what's going on until I pick up the phone to look at it, which is why I started wearing a watch in the first place. One less excuse to have to pick up the phone and get lost in it. That's just how it is. I even considered, once in a while I turn the ringer off too. I considered keeping that off all the time because I have other things on my mind and I can't get pulled into that. So I know this video is all over the place. I just want to say, buy low, sell high. Do your due diligence on things. Educate yourself. Try not to be super passionate about something to the point where it makes you dumb and you just jump into it and you spend all this money. All right. But if you are going to get into things, think it out and try to get things that you understand are cool enough, timeless timepiece watch, that there's always going to be a market for it down the road. And yeah, bartering, reselling, gifting, uh, it's money in the bank. You never know when you might need some money down the road and you can sell things. I have a friend and I'm going to do an interview with. He's back east and he owns a bait and tackle shop. John, I know you watch the videos, and it has a restaurant attached to it. And it's a family business, and his family bought the business in like I think it was 1969, and he's a childhood friend, known him forever, and he went and got a business degree, and his dad was a really cool dude. He was in a Cobra, Shelby Cobra cars. He had a bunch of them. He knew Carroll Shelby as a kid growing up. There was always Shelby Cobras driving up and down the island, and other cool cars that they had always parked in the little parking lot thing in the middle of the road there. So you could always see that stuff. It was always cool. But when his old man passed, the whole business was in the red, and John just took over. And that's all. That his whole life became this business, just nose to the grindstone. And he got it out of the red, and he built it up, and really turned it into something great. And then they got hit with Hurricane Sandy, and it took everything out. And because John was a collector, he was able to sell his coin collection and use that money to rebuild his business. And he was one of the first businesses, he might have been the first business, rebuilt, up and running again on the island, and had his restaurant going. At one point, for like a year or more, it was the only place you could get food because everything else was closed that hadn't been rebuilt yet. And he was able to do that because he had a hobby. Because for years, he got into this thing and he collected things and he knew what he was doing. And it was interesting because it was one of those things, I believe I'm correct about this, I could be wrong, but because he was always dealing with cash at the register, people coming in for decades buying stuff, he was always finding silver coins and whatnot. Back in the 90s, I was home and we were up on the beach with a metal detector at night. We'd go up there at midnight with flashlights and whatnot, and I'm really good at being methodical. I mean, you guys see what I do for a living, and gritting things out in my mind. So we didn't miss a square inch. And on the nights we went up there, it hit me. I realized you could literally live off of what you find on the beach every single day. I mean, if you don't have major expenses, I'm talking about like feeding yourself, you know. But the old vintage, you know, old coins, old dimes, mercury dimes, silver quarters, all kinds of silvers on the beach, jewelry, a lot of fishing tackle. Fishing tackle, you can clean out, resell it. You never know what you're going to find in the sand. And after storms, that's when you want to go up there. So again, there's just things you could pull out of the ground. I don't know if I mentioned this already. I mentioned in the first video for sure. Rock hounding, right? Out here in the desert, rocks, petrified wood, whatever. East Coast when I was a kid, arrowheads. Literally, you can pick stuff up off the ground and make money off of it. There are people out here looking for gold. It's something I've done before. I've never been successful with it. I haven't really gotten super into it, but I want to get into it more. There's people, they'll put on a wetsuit, they'll get in a creek with a snorkel and a mask and dig in the cracks. They're looking at the right spots. They're finding these little honey holes and they're digging gold out of the crevices. And you could walk out with an ounce of gold if you're lucky, if you have a good day. I don't know what that is right now. I mean, I know last time I looked, it was like $1,600 or $1,800 an ounce. That's pretty good. That can happen. So I'm just saying, it doesn't have to be, you can live your life, your entire existence, hustling. Just knowing what you're doing, learning, turning your brain out, turn your, what, let me get my brain working again. Excuse me for a second. Let me knock some sense. Okay. Right. Okay, here I am, I'm back. So, as I was saying, you turn your brain on, you figure stuff out, you can figure out how to live. This came up in a conversation yesterday. I haven't had a job, like working for anybody. I work for myself when I feel like working. I'm basically more of a semi-retired guy. This last year I've been putting in has been a whole different thing. But I haven't like had a job where I've had to work for anybody. I can't even tell you. Probably since like the last film thing I worked on or TV thing. was probably around 2001-ish. So it's been over 20 years, just, making a few bucks here and there and surviving. But mostly it's just been due to my ability to find things, sell things, do barter things, work deals with individuals, that sort of thing, and make art. I mean, I don't walk around going, I'm an artist, but that is what I am. And I just make cool things for people. I make people happy. I have the practical knowledge to do all the other work you'll see here, decades of experience doing it, but you can have decades of experience doing something and still not be really good at it. You have to be the type of person that takes pride in your work. You have to have integrity. Always doing the right thing even when nobody's watching. Those are the two main things: pride and integrity. It's two main things. Honesty is huge. Following through on things, being a finisher, a hard worker, being a little crazy, being the type of person that just has to make sure you're doing the best job possible. I'm the kind of guy, if you pay me to do something, 98.7% of the time, I'm really locked in on it, man. I owe it to you. You've given me some money. I owe it to you to give you my best work. I don't give it 100% there because there are times. You know what I mean? There are some times. But the beauty of it for me, too, is that I've set my life up to where I've avoided. My buddy John says to me all the time, he said, this video's gone off the rails. I don't know what the hell I'll call it now, but he says to me all the time, he goes, Mike, you're a really smart guy, and people don't understand, that you think like this and you can figure all this stuff out. And we talked about my achievements, and the truth is, because I laugh about it, I've purposefully tried to be an underachiever on purpose, because all the people in the world that I run into that are overachievers, I've seen they tend to make their lives more miserable than they need to be. And they end up having a hard time finding times to relax. It affects their health in a negative way. They're overweight, they're going bald, they got diabetes, their diet is horrible, they don't have the time to exercise, don't have enough time for their spouses or their kids or whatever. I've just watched that happen. And as far as being a contractor or something like that, there's no way, man. There's no way I want to get into that and have to work within the system and deal with insurance and being responsible for all these other people's lives, right? With their jobs and getting paid and everything else. Way too much stress for me, man. All right. The reason why I apparently people are telling me, I don't know, but the reason why I still look pretty good and I'm healthy and virile and everything else is because probably the number one thing, I've kept my stress levels down. Don't have to kowtow to anybody. I can walk away from anything. I can say no to anything. That's just how it is, man. It's a scary way for a lot of people to live. I understand it. I understand I had this conversation with my sister yesterday. I had multiple conversations yesterday. But most people feel the need to have a 9-to-5 gig. They need or feel they need the security. Some people have jobs where they're fortunate enough where they know that they can get a pension. Hopefully. There are some people that work for decades, they got a pension coming, and it doesn't happen. That's the same thing like Social Security. That's probably not going to be around. I mean, because I didn't really pay into it for very long. I haven't gotten one in a while, but I think my Social Security would be like $300 a month or something or less. So I have to stay fit enough to be able to do what I do and work the way I do till pretty much the afternoon of my funeral. That's just going to be how it is, man. And I accept that. I can accept that. The irony there is when I have a girlfriend, they're the ones who put that pressure on me, and that's one of the reasons why it doesn't last, because they're trying to hey, you got to do this for this reason. No, I don't. No, don't need to, man. That's just how it is. But again, going back to the buying and selling, because I'm able to see things, I have literally picked things up on the side of the road for nothing and made money on it. I got a buddy over here in the valley, Chad. You guys will see him. We're going to be doing some videos together because he's an interesting character. He's the guy who got me into the watch thing. That's what he does. Hustler, man. Craftsman. and finds stuff, cleans it up, sells it. That's what he does. You could be doing this too. So just putting all that out there. You guys can, however you want to think about this. Uh, this video is probably getting too long now, but I wanted to give you some tips on the eBay. I wanted to explain that I do sell things. I want to explain I don't have to sell things. I'm not doing that specifically to make a living, but it does help me. And if I mention something and I tell you what I paid for it, it doesn't mean I'm going to accept that amount if I wanted to sell it again. But having said that, anything you see in my videos, if you want to send me an email, make me an offer on it, it's fine. It happens several times a week. I'm used to it. Anyhow, next video will be shorter and more concise on a particular topic. And I hope you enjoy that. And I hope this is okay. I know I'm all over the place here. Also, I will just throw this in. Rough week. I had a little bit of an issue with a client. Wasn't sure if I was going to go back to the gig. And I think I'm going to. They've been paying me, so I'm like, all right. But I kind of took this week and did a bunch of other things, caught up on some other things that I needed to do, and back to work this upcoming week. So I'll be working on in the shop here. So that's it for now. Thank you for being here. Have a great day. Be kind to one another. Help one another out. Be fun and interesting too. I hope to see you guys in the next one. Bye.